Hello, it's Scott Manley here, and today I was going to show you my record collection. Now, people have heard that I'm a DJ and they've commented on my collection in the back of the live streams, but I've never really got close up with it. So yeah, here it is. It's, well, these are 9 feet worth of shelving, 4 shelves. Probably about 2,500 to 3,000 records, but I'm not really sure on the count there. There's a lot of stuff that are duplicates, are just too embarrassing to talk about. There's a Justin Timberlake record down there. But yeah, we have mostly electronic dance music in these rows down to here. These are mostly 12-inch singles, so you'll typically have 2 tracks, 1 on each side. Some of them will have up to 4 tracks, but that means that there's not actually many tracks, individual tracks represented here. So you could probably fit this entire music collection onto a cell phone, such as the iPhone 5S that I'm filming it with. I'll film, digitally recording it with. So yeah, I collect this over the last 25 years or so. Some of the stuff, was old when I got it. There's some really awesome old tunes down here from the 50s and 60s. This was donated by a friend. This is basically everything the Beatles ever released on vinyl. It is just wondrous to behold. I have, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd's down here, Dark Side of the Moon, important record to have. I have awesome tunes by, I have collections of Bollywood music. I have Cake. I have Hip Hop, House of Pain, Jump Around, that's always very popular. I have Boards of Canada from Scotland, of course, on blue vinyl. I have that guy called Pizza Man, also known as Norman Cook, better known as Fatboy Slim. I have a picture disc of The Wolf by Dave Clark, the Dark Baron of Techno. I have a collection of Commodore 64 game music on vinyl. I also have DJ tools here. These are like scratches and locked grooves. And interestingly, here, somewhere, I have Richie Houghton, Closer to the Edit. Now, this is only locked grooves. When this album was released, he was talking about this cool new technology called Final Scratch, which basically revolutionized how DJs play music from vinyl. This is all full of locked grooves. Now, what that means is each side has only 30 tracks, right? It has 30 tracks, but they're one single groove that runs around the record and meets itself. Instead of spiraling in towards the middle, it stays in the same place and basically plays the same 4 beats in a row at 133 beats per minute. So you can chop and change your records, build up records. If you have like 4 or 5 turntables at a time, it's like Ableton. But hey, you know what's like Ableton? Ableton. So these are kind of a niche thing these days. What DJs do nowadays, though, is use something called Serato Scratch Live or Final Scratch. Some people use, there's an open source version called Mix, and there was another one called Ms. Pinky, which I had for a while. This gorgeous blue record is in fact what's called a control record. It has a digital signal on it encoded in audio. When you play the output from this into a computer, it can read off the time signatures and play the appropriate bit from an MP3. Now, why would you do that to play your MP3s? The reason is the vinyl with turntables and a mixer is a stupendously good user interface for controlling music. It is incredibly tactile. If you want to slow the music down or speed it up, you can touch the record, give it a push, give it a pull, slow it down. It works fine. If you want to skip back and forth, you pick up the needle. If you want to scratch, you have the momentum there. There are CDJs and dedicated computer interfaces which aim to provide this kind of control, but honestly, I've never really felt comfortable with any of them, but perhaps I'm just a Luddite. But yeah, this is this way basically lets you play your entire MP3 collection, which means you can take a couple of these, a little magic box that reads the audio, and a laptop, instead of trying to carry even this one bag, which you can probably just see out of shot. This is a bag with like 80 records in it. It weighs a ton. And this literally probably weighs a ton. Okay, so let's take a look at one of these close up, right? This is We Want Your Soul by Adam Freeland, right? It is a 12-inch vinyl. It runs at 33 RPM, I believe. And if I move the camera at the right angle, you can just see the grooves on one side. This is all very cool. Now, if I flip this over, we actually get the DJ tools on the B side. You get one part at the bottom is a track. Then moving up, we get a couple of locked grooves here, which you can maybe just make out. The camera may not be focusing too well. And then here you have a section which is just an a cappella. That means it is just the vocal without any of the other instruments. So you can try playing that all, you can just try playing the vocal over other people's records and make an instant remix. So you probably know how vinyl audio is recorded, right? There's a groove in here, the needle sits in the groove, and the groove pushes the needle about, and you get the audio out from that motion by converting the motion into electricity and sending that signal through an amplifier. Now, you probably all know that, but how many of you know how stereo audio is encoded? As you know, stereo is left channel and right channel. How do you encode 2 channels worth of audio into a single groove? Do you have 2 needles sitting next to each other? No. What happens is you have, normally the signal is encoded by moving the needle left and right, so the groove goes left to right. But it can also go up and down because the vinyl has finite depth. And yeah, so you might think, aha, left channel goes left and right and the right channel goes up and down. No, not that simple, because the left and right, or the lateral motion, has much lower signal to noise, whereas the vertical one doesn't have as much motion, so you have more signal to noise. So what you do is you actually encode the channels at 45 degrees to each other, is a technical way of doing it. But what really happens is the amplitude is encoded left to right, and the stereo position is encoded in the vertical signal. So if you happen to have an old record player that can't play stereo records, it'll still read the lateral motion and throw away the stereo motion. So that's how stereo vinyl works, and that's what these things look like up close. So yeah, this is my record collection. I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.